What is up, guys? This is Joe with Optics, and today we're going to be talking about what made Batman Under the Red Hood awesome. In case you aren't aware, Batman Under the Red Hood is a graphic novel and was adapted into an animated movie. We're going to focus more so on those two. I know it's kind of connected to Batman Arkham Knight, but like I said, we're just going to focus on the animated movie and the graphic novel for now. So, if you don't know the story of Red Hood, it's basically a villain who comes in and starts taking over all the gangs and all the crime stuff. So Batman starts tracking him down, but having no idea who this guy really is, but also having a very eerie feeling about him. And he's trying to figure out just who he is. Now, the graphic novel and the movie are pretty close. The movie follows the graphic novel very, very well, but just takes out a few things, and it doesn't necessarily hurt the movie. It's just stuff that makes the book better in the end. For example, you can see Batman has a feeling he might know who Red Hood is. So he starts talking to people who have died in the past, like Green Arrow and Superman, trying to figure out just how they came back. And that's something that they took out of the movie that I felt would have helped the movie a lot. Now, I'm pretty sure at this moment, the majority of people reading comics, playing video games, they all know who the Red Hood actually is. So I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It was Jason Todd who died years ago in the comics, and then they decided to bring him back as a villain, which I think was a great idea. He was killed by the Joker, but beaten brutally and just basically tortured beforehand. And that was something that I thought was very, very surprising when I first read it. It's a very dark and mysterious story, and that's one of the reasons why I think it's so great. When I first read Batman Under the Red Hood, I already knew who the Red Hood was, but just following along, seeing Batman trying to figure it out was just good, even though I already knew what one of the major plot points were. As I mentioned, it was really enjoyable to see Batman learn who the Red Hood was. You could see for the great detective, it was very hard trying to figure out who he was, because he had an idea, but at the moment it didn't make any sense to how Jason could have survived it all. It was great to see Red Hood be a villain in this. His motives and reasons for doing things actually made sense, I thought, and I thought he was very well motivated. You see a little bit in this story, but more so in other Red Hood stories, that Jason really viewed Batman as a father figure. So when the Joker killed him and he found out that Batman, in a sense, didn't do much to avenge him, it hurt him. So I like that they made his motivation trying to get back at Batman while showing him the lesson that in his mind, it's okay to kill and it helps people. It was great to see the conflicting emotions between Red Hood wanting to kill people and thinking it was almost necessary for peace, and then seeing Batman who never kills people and refuses to. And seeing them argue this was just awesome. The Joker in this series was also great. Seeing how brutal and just how much of basically the Joker he was in the beginning to kill Jason, and then seeing the little bit of confusion when he found out it was Jason, but also it was just hilarious to see that he just didn't care and just kept egging him on to see what would happen between him and Bruce and seeing if he actually would kill him since he knew Bruce wouldn't. I know me personally, I love the stories where a good guy turns bad. Those are some of my favorite storylines. And this just made it even better because Batman is one of my favorite and I feel one of the best superheroes. So seeing someone he worked with personally turn bad and just turn against him so drastically, I felt that that was just an awesome story and just a great way to explore. So the story and the villain in this are awesome, as well as the action. The graphic novel and the animated movie do not hold back. There is a bunch of action, and I did not expect that much, and I didn't expect it to be that good, especially in the graphic novel, as well as certain parts in the animated movie. And it was just blowing me away for certain scenes, and the intensity is just great. Both the movie and the graphic novel are awesome, and I always recommend these to people who are just getting into things or just want a good story. And if they haven't experienced it yet, I feel like everyone should. If you don't like reading, you're not missing out on too much by just watching the movie. But if you like reading, definitely recommend the graphic novel just a little bit more because you get a little bit more in depth of the story. But don't get me wrong, Under the Red Hood movie is still one of my favorite DC animated movies. and I believe it is just one of the best. It's awesome. Alright, that's it for today, guys. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys think of Under the Red Hood. And not just that, let me know who your favorite sidekick is. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are also on Twitter and Instagram, so feel free to hit us up there. We always posting and talking about things nerdy. Alright guys, see you next week.